these are my final thoughts for Amir Khan versus Chris Algieri. The fight's about to start very, very soon. Now, most people see this as a pretty straightforward fight for Amir Khan. Some people have even gone as far as saying this is a cherry pick for him because he's going up against Chris Algieri, a guy who can't punch, a guy whose claim to fame really is his ability to absorb a beating and continuously get off the canvas and move around the ring and flick a jab out. So he's seen as a pretty harmless opponent for Khan. That's the way it's perceived. And I'll admit, I'm picking Amir Khan in this fight. I don't expect him to lose. But I will say this. Every time Amir Khan has lost, it's been in fights which he was expected to win by the vast majority of the boxing public. Okay, cast your minds back to the Bradis Prescott fight. Very few people expected Prescott to win. No one had heard of the guy. Everyone just thought this guy is some crude Colombian, Khan should be able to outbox him. Then you go back to the Lamont Peterson fight. That was seen as a routine defense for Khan. He was coming off some pretty good displays. I think it was right after the Judah fight, or was it after the McCluskey fight? I can't remember, but most people expected him to deal with Peterson pretty easily. The majority of the boxing public expected that. Then look at the Danny Garcia fight. Most people felt when Khan got knocked out by Garcia, or before Khan got knocked out by Garcia, they felt that the fight had come too soon for Garcia. I remember a lot of people even saying Garcia wasn't a big puncher, and that Khan would just be able to outbox him, might even stop him. This is what people were saying. I think there was me and Errol Jarrett. I remember before the Garcia fight, me and Errol Jarrett were talking on Facebook, I think the day of the fight, and we were both looking at Garcia tapes and we were saying, you know what? I think this is a 50-50 fight. Khan might get knocked out here. So there was a few of us, who felt that Khan could get knocked out by Garcia looking at the styles of them. But the majority of the boxing public were very heavily backing Khan. And then you look at even a fight which he nearly lost, the Julio Diaz fight. Very few people expected that to be a tough fight for Khan. A lot of people saw that as a cherry pick. So whenever Khan is expected to win pretty easily, he either loses or has serious problems. The times when Khan is expected to lose, and I remember this, people, I know they love ducking and dodging and having very, very suspect recollections of certain times. But I remember when Khan fought Maidana, most people felt Maidana was going to knock Khan out in a couple rounds. Okay, there was people like me and a few others who picked Khan, but the majority of the boxing public really felt Khan was going to get smashed to pieces in that fight. And yes, he had a tough 10th round, but he pulled it out of the bag. He didn't actually hit the canvas. Yeah, people talk about that 10th round, that the fight should have been stopped or what have you, but he didn't hit the canvas most people expected him to. The fight he had the fights recently even, against Luis Collazo and Devon Alexander, a lot of people were picking him to lose those fights, particularly in America. Even a Zab Judah fight, bizarrely enough, a lot of Americans were picking Khan to get knocked out by Zab Judah, and even some people in the UK because Judah had that big left hand. So you look at Khan's history, whenever people expect him to lose, he usually pulls it out of the bag and wins. Whenever people expect him to win pretty easily, that's when Khan tends to have problems and even lose. So that's what I'll leave you with going into this Chris Algieri fight. Again, I'm picking Khan to win, but one of Khan's biggest problems is kind of the opposite of what a lot of other fighters have. Khan gets gassed too easily. He gets complacent too easily. His confidence gets the better of him, and he thinks he's safer than he really is against certain opponents. That's one of Khan's biggest weaknesses, and it's led to the majority, if not all, of his losses. So I'll leave you with that. Drop your comments below and let me know your final thoughts before Amir Khan versus Chris Algieri. It's Hatman, I'm out.